Grace and peace to you guys. April Chapman here with the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things theological, social, cultural, political, and educational from a biblical perspective. I am your host, April Chapman, and today I want to do a reaction to a video that actually came in my YouTube newsfeed. I was not looking for this video. I was just scrolling like I do, minding my business, and I saw an older woman, and the title of the video was Why Black Women Are the Least Married. So when I saw this video and I saw that the creator was an older woman, I got excited because I just knew that one of our aunties, one of our sister girls who have lived a full life was just going to be pouring into Black women and giving us some straight truth with no chaser, but sprinkled in with a whole lot of grandma love. Like, I thought that that's what I was going to get, but that is not what I got. When I see content made by other Black women and they are lending commentary on perhaps why we're not getting married, it does catch my attention. So when I pressed play and I listened, I was like, well, wait a minute now. My initial, reaction was, oh no, you're not one of those, are you? There was heavy blame shifting. If you've been on this channel for any length of time, I talk a lot about personal responsibility and accountability. And because I am a woman, I specifically speak to women, and I speak to that issue a lot because for so long in Black American culture, Black women have not been held accountable. We've been given lots of excuses. We've explained away a lot of our bad decisions and poor behavior. But accountability is not one of those things that has been high on the totem pole. So when I first listened to the video and I listened just to get an idea of, okay, what is this person's worldview? What perspective are they coming from? It was apparent immediately at the beginning of the video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and share it, and I'm going to let you listen to the first few minutes of the video, and then I'm going to come back and provide some commentary on it.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Okay, for today we're going to talk about why Black women are the least married. Okay, I ran across this young woman talking about this subject, and I thought I would address it because I don't think that a lot of our younger people understand why these things happen. Okay, let's look at it. Black women have always been the least respected women in the world. Black women. Okay, you can look at it. You know the reports. We've been raped, killed, totally taken advantage of. You see, and because of slavery, our men were taught to disrespect us too. That's right, through slavery. You see, let's go all the way back and understand. Let's understand the basis of a lot of this. You see, during slavery, our men were beaten down to nothing. They could not protect us at all. And then they were forced to see white men taking advantage of us sexually, physically, whatever. And they were helpless. So, see, what this does is that, remember, slavery worked on the Black man's psychic. It destroyed the Black man's psyche. The Black man does not really respect his woman. He doesn't love his woman. The system has taught the Black man that the standard of beauty is whiteness. Okay? I'm going to bring it right down to the bare nuts. Okay?
I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop it for a moment. Okay, so the first thing I want to deal with, we need to clear the air and just deal with some truth for a moment. I understand that in this country, that the Black American people group, Black folks, that we've experienced a heinous atrocity known as chattel slavery. What I also know is that we're not the only people group that have ever been conquered, subjugated, and used as slaves. Our situation is unique in that we were stolen, which the Bible speaks against. We were stolen and sold and made it across the transatlantic slave trade. And that voyage was rough. That voyage was something that a lot of them did not survive. And if you managed to survive and actually make it here, the level of mental and physical and emotional trauma that you sustained would definitely, I would say, would be far reaching. But if the premise of this video is to talk about why Black women are the least married, I'm confused as to why slavery is even a topic of discussion regarding this. And I get wanting to give historical context, but you give historical context when it has some bearing or basis to explain the premise of your argument. In this instance, I would argue that this is projection, and we need to once again avoid accountability and blame an event that none of us living today, including this woman, because she's older. We are pulling from a narrative that we've heard, but that we have not lived, in order to explain why our present reality is so dim. Let us be clear. We already have viable statistics. We have personal testimony. We have observable reality that defies everything that she said about the state of Black male and female relationships post-slavery, right? Yes, Black women were raped. Yes, the spirit of the Black man was broken as a result of slavery. But one thing that we had and that we held on to, because it was the only thing that mattered outside of a knowledge of our Creator, it was family. It was the institution of marriage. In fact, during slavery, to be married was such a joy and an honor and a privilege that even slaves from different plantations would marry. They weren't even able to live in a bona fide state of matrimony because they didn't share the same bed or the same home. But the idea of being joined to a man in a one flesh union meant something to a Black slave woman, and it meant something to a Black slave man. And despite whatever the slave master tried to do, they could not break the bond of family and duty and honor to your one flesh partner. And then let's fast forward a little bit to Reconstruction. During the area of Reconstruction, more Black women, more Black families, we were married at a rate that outpaced our white counterparts. So how is it that one generation removed from slavery, the people who actually had the scars on their back to prove that they were a slave and the gnarled hands, those people, how is it that those people managed to pair bond with their like kind, a black man and a black woman, were able to figure it out, come together, get married, have a family, be fruitful and multiply? How is it that they were able to do that in the confines of marriage, despite having actually been slaves, born slaves, and become emancipated slaves? Let's fast forward to the 40s. My mother was born in 1943. If you knew the rate of marriage in black households, it was very high. Out of wedlock births were very, very low. We were married, and no, we weren't just married because we didn't have any other options. We actually understood that being married meant something, and that having children in the confines of marriage meant something. And we weren't so weak, and we weren't so shallow, and we weren't so independent minded because first wave feminism hadn't really come on the scene yet. We hadn't bought into feminism. So, because we hadn't bought into feminism, our men protected us, our men loved us, our men provided for us, despite the fact that they were living in harsh conditions, such as maybe the Jim Crow South. There are even people alive today who lived in the Jim Crow South that don't fit this narrative that she's trying to paint. She's trying to build this victimization case and this I can't accept accountability because of something out there that I've never experienced. And that's the reason why Black women are not getting married. I just needed to say a little something about her ahistorical facts because they're not accurate. They're just not. We were doing better and we were faring better with less under harsher conditions. I'm going to let her continue though.
The system has taught the black man that the standard of beauty is whiteness. So when the black man, now I'm not talking about all black men, but I'm talking about a lot of them. And this is the reason why a lot of black women are not married. Because when the black man, when he rises up and he gets to some status, the black woman can't even get to the man. That the standard of beauty is whiteness. Okay? I'm going to bring it right down to the bare nuts. Okay? The system has taught the black man that the standard of beauty is whiteness. So when the black man, now I'm not talking about all black men, but I'm talking about a lot of them. And this is the reason why a lot of black women are not married. Because when the black man, when he rises up and he gets to some status, the black woman can't even get to the man. Because white women are all over them. You see? Now, that's just since,
Okay, so let's deal with that argument. Because that's more of a falsehood that is greatly concerning. She says that another reason why black women, notice how it's nothing the black women are doing, but another reason why black women are not married is because black men have adopted whiteness as the standard of beauty. Let's just camp out there for a little bit, shall we? Because now she claims, she does give a disclaimer and says that she's not talking about all black men, but most. Okay. So okay, good. We ain't got to deal in the margins. We could just deal right there in the pocket, right? In the broad spectrum. We'll talk in generalities. Ma'am, that is just simply not true. That is simply not true. In fact, I would argue that it is black women that have bought into and are trying to adopt a white standard of beauty. How do we know this? I don't know. Why is it that most of our women absolutely refuse, not can't, not just refuse to wear their own hair, but in fact, they are wanting to wear hair that matches the texture of the same people that they claim the white men want their hair to be like. I can guarantee if I can get 100 black men in a room and I ask them, would you prefer a female that wears her own hair or one that wears a wig or a weave? I can guarantee you over 80% of those men are going to be like, please, no wig or weave. Hands down, they want to see us. Whether your hair is long or short, or it's kinky, or it's curly, that is not true. Historically, if you look in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, especially in the 70s, Black men embraced the idea of just the natural beauty of the Black woman. We didn't have to do all of these modifications and additions and other things to look like other people. We were just ourselves. We recognized our differences. We celebrated those differences. And we were not trying to be like somebody else. We were just being ourselves. But now the Black woman is dictating these fashion trends and these looks to try to look like something that they're not. Black men are just adapting. They're like, well, it's hard to find a Black woman who's wearing her own hair, or it's hard to find a Black woman that's wearing her own hair in a shade that actually looks like it grew out of her scalp. It's the Black man. They're adapting. My husband, when I decided I wanted to go natural, he was like, hey, whatever, I don't care. As long as it looks good, that's fine. And then when I decided to go relax, it was like, hey, I don't care. As long as it looks good, that's fine. But the moment I start talking about, I'm thinking I want to get a lace front, he's like, lace who? Not in this house. We're not doing that. He doesn't like all of that. And then the argument that she says, and then when a Black man gets a little money, the Black women can't get to him because the white women are all over him. Well, let's just deal with that for a moment, shall we? Because see, y'all don't really want this truth today. Y'all don't really want this. Let's just be honest. Sisters, Black women, we've not been known to compete even for our own men. We don't. We don't want to compete. We don't want to serve. We don't want to show up and figure out how can I fill in the blanks in this man's life. But rather we show up with, what can I take from this man's life? Is he going to pay my bills? Is he going to buy me a car? Is he going to keep me laid? Am I going to be flued out? Like, are we going to talk? Or are we going to play games? Are we going to talk or we're going to play games? Because we're going to play games, that's fine. Okay. But I didn't come here to play games. I came to talk, to keep it 100, to make the assertion that when Black men do rise to a certain level of success, that we Black women can't get to them because of the white women all over them. Well, why is it that we're not all over our own men? Is because we're too busy trying to compete and actually be a man? I don't know. Is it because we're always trying to assert, well, I'm a PhD and I got this and I don't really need a man and I got my own and I got my house, I got my car. It'd be nice to have a man, but I don't need a man. How you mad at Becky? Because Becky saw an opportunity to like, this is a solid young man and he's ambitious and he looks like he's got some goals and I can see where he might be in 10 years. He wants to protect. He has the ability to provide. Let me put myself in his purview so he can get at me. Black women, we won't humble ourselves to do that. Now we'll try to fight to get backstage so that we can, meet a rapper. We'll do that. We'll sacrifice and jump through all kinds of hoops to meet a rapper. But we're not gonna sacrifice and jump through no hoops to meet a brain surgeon. Now we don't even know where we don't even know what spaces that we need to insert ourselves into in order to meet that type of man. Why? Because that type of man is not on Miami Beach watching you throw it back. He's not there. He's not there. He's on the golf course. He's at the country club. He's at his local city council meeting trying to figure out why his taxes are so high, right? Like he's doing grown man things in grown man ways while you're out trying to have hot girl summer and trying to get your groove back when you 47 and missed your season. Like you missed your opportunity to get him. Could it be? Could it be? Yes, I'm going to go there. Could it be that maybe when Becky goes out with her girlfriends, Becky's like, you know what? I'm going to get the grilled salmon and a side salad and a sparkling water. Where you are wanting, I'm going to get the crab legs and the Alfredo pasta. And then I'm going to get a whole cheesecake. And then I'm going to have 4 or 5 drinks. And you done inhale about 4,000 calories in that one meal. And now your weight just kind of puts you outside of the purview of a man of that stature. I'm just saying. I know y'all not gonna like this. This is And the sad part about it is, in this one moment, that moment that you just saw from me, I had to pull back because I didn't really say what I really wanted to say. And sometimes to be faithful to the truth, it stings just a little bit. So yes, when I talk about us being 50, 100, and 200 pounds overweight, it's because it matters. It's because it matters. You don't get to have access to the most top tier of men when you've done nothing to become part of the most top tier of women that are also competing for that same man. Yes, the number on the scale matters. It just does. The color of your hair matters. It just does. Having a bunch of septum rings and tatted all over the place, all of those things matter. If you want a man of a certain caliber and not just so you can deal with them, sure. Men will take out all kinds of women. Now, some they only take out in a day, and then others they actually take out in public at night. But a man of a certain caliber who's looking for a wife, he's got standards and he's got requirements. And you don't get, just because you want it, you don't get to change the standards and the requirements. Having a tattoo on your neck or on your face will disqualify you from being in the running. That's just a fact. Men who are looking for wives are not looking for women who look like that. Men who are looking for wives and are looking for women who are going to bear them multiple children don't tend to start at the higher end of the weight spectrum. If you start at 250, he's already calculating in his mind mathematically, first kid, that's 270. Second kid, that's probably about 290. Third kid, we 300. They're not going to take a chance and bet on you just because you want them. So this whiteness being a standard of beauty, I would argue is not true. All of my male friends of means, I'm talking about not just 6-figure dudes talking about he like at 105. I'm talking about he's at 525, 725, almost a millionaire. Those men love Black women. They want to be with women who share their ethnic image because they want to produce other little Black babies that look like them, but they're not going to hold out. They're not going to hold out for us to get it together and finally lose some weight and finally wear our own hair and finally wear makeup that makes us just look like enhanced versions of ourselves and not the alter egos of ourselves. They're not going to they're not going to wait for you to get through your hoe phase and your hot girl summer phase and get the tattoos removed and get all the piercings to close up. They want it to come in a default factory setting. That's what they want. And if they don't get that, they're going to go with the woman who was available, who met the criteria and the requirements that they were looking for. And if she happens to come up wrapped up in a different level of melanin, then so be it. But don't project your hatred onto these men because you couldn't figure out how to get one. That is on you. It is not a whiteness system that is the problem. It is the same problem that has always been the problem. It has been we refuse to self-examine. We refuse to look and discern our own heart, and we refuse to accept accountability. That's what this whole video is, just one older woman's diatribe of my bad choices, my mistakes ended me in 2 failed marriages, and now I want to project this toxicity onto the internet so that I can attract other women who are laboring and bemoaning their own bad choices and their failure to accept accountability for themselves so that we can all rally around and have a nice little echo chamber together. That's what this video is. But let's continue.
Interracial dating or whatever. But where does that leave the Black woman? The disrespected Black woman. If her own men don't respect her, her own men don't respect her, well, what's to become of the Black woman?
I'm sorry, I need to provide commentary on this one part. When she says, Black men and the Black men don't respect the Black woman, man, respect is earned. Respect is earned. And I don't know what world you live in, but everywhere I go, I don't experience disrespect at the hands of a Black man. I just don't. Everywhere I go, Black men open doors for me. Black men smile back at me. Black men are courteous to me. Black men, if I'm stranded on the side of the road, I had a Black male pimp who had his trick with him help me change my tire in the pouring rain. Now, he may have been disrespecting the trick that he was tricking to earn a living for himself. I didn't have nothing to do with that. I was on the side of the road in distress, tire needed to be changed, and my husband was not close and could not get to me. The pimp didn't disrespect me. Where is this disrespect at the hands of the Black man? The disrespect that Black women claim that they're experiencing, it's because of what we're projecting. When you're thotting it up on a table in a restaurant, twerking, if the expectation is for someone to respect you, that's just not gonna happen. When you're somebody's mama on social media and every time we see you, you half naked, booty tooted all out all the time, like, are you shocked that you're not getting any respect? Respect is given when a person is like, oh, this is a person of value. Now, we all deserve dignity, value, and a modicum of human respect toward humankind. But the respect that she is talking about, no one is forcing us to dismar our own ethnic image by projecting out to the world a caricature or a less than favorable view of our ethnic image. I don't see someone threatening us to say, well, if you don't get on, Real Housewives of Atlanta and just, act real ghetto and demean yourself and shake it like it, like just if you, no one is threatening that if we don't do that, the missed opportunities are gonna, no. No one threatened Sierra, and no one actually disrespected Sierra. Sierra disrespected herself by walking out on the red carpet, booty butt naked, pretty much. Outside of some little nipple stickers, that's pretty much all that was covered up. Disrespect is it can be taught, but receiving respect, it's based on what you project and what you present to the world. And I would argue that in music videos, the objectification of women in general, that happens, and it's not because women don't want it. We agree to it, we accept it, and we even capitalize off of it. So no, I don't. I wholly reject the idea that just because a Black man gets money, the first thing he's trying to do is run and go get him a white woman. There are reasons why Black women are behind and we are not our own man's first choice. There are reasons. These men are tired. They are tired with being disrespected. They are tired of not having respect in their home just based on the fact that men are stronger than us. They are tired of being told that they just need to get on our program. A man is not going to want a woman to lead him and rule over him and be in charge. And so because if a man doesn't let you do that, he's not gonna withstand that level of just level of disrespect.
Okay. Now I hear a lot of people on these dating sites telling Black women that you talk too much, you're too this, you're too independent, and all of that. Let me tell you something. Black women are what they were forced to become. They are what they were forced to become.
I disagree. I disagree with the notion that the reason why we're too independent and we talk too much and we don't listen is because we were forced to be this way. No, what we did was we hitched our wagon to feminism and we discarded our men in exchange for government help, like a check, just a check. Um, Now, to be fair, there were some societal pressures that did impact and strain the relationships between Black men and Black women. I would say probably the Vietnam War. A lot of our men went to fight. They came back. They were not the same. Like there chemically something happened to a lot of them. Emotionally, something happened to a lot of them. They were not the same men. Some of them came back bright. They went into the military bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and not realizing what they were going or entering themselves into. And they came back dependent on alcoholic substances and drugs. Many of them came back and they were not themselves. And so there were instances and examples of the husbands coming back and being abusive. And so then the home is broken and now you got a fractured family. Yes, that happened. I'm not going to deny that happened. But that's not solely what happened. Many of us, like I said, hitched our wagon to feminism. And we saw our mothers and grandmothers be loving, submissive wives. And we started listening to feminism that said, you don't need a man. You can go out here and do it on your own. And for the Black woman, we took it another step further. Not only did we discard our own men, right? We weren't exhibiting a level of patience toward them. We were just being really controlling and argumentative. And then once the government attached a financial incentive for you to discard your man, instead of us rejecting that, saying no, like, I'm not going to do that. Like, being a single mom is not like a good thing. I need the father of my children in the home with me, and we need to be married. No. What we did was we abandoned a moral standard and we exchanged it for the new societal norm. We got a check. And the more babies we'd have out of wedlock, the more checks we would get. Now, mind you, this income wasn't sustainable enough for you to really raise an actual family and flourish. But for whatever reason, many of us were like, you know what? Being dependent on the government, at least it's consistent. At least I know exactly when I'm going to get the check. I know when I'm supposed to line up to the mailbox to get my check. And when I go to the grocery store, back then they ain't have debit cards, but that food stamp book, you knew exactly how much you had and what you were going to get. It was a consistent, stable force in the lives of many. And for many, it became generational.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
Now, if we have a generation of that kind of thing happening and the kids are coming up under that, then we got another generation of lost young people motivated. And society has made living for the women without the husband or without the male easy.
Oh?
Yeah, welfare. I think welfare is not the best thing for everybody.
Tell me why.
Because it provides you with some kind of income that you sooner or later just settle for. I know I was on welfare. I've been on welfare.
Are you suggesting that we do away with welfare?
No, I'm saying it has to be upgraded. For instance, I have some young people here that are on welfare, okay, but would like to work. But they can't work and make a coin because everything you make is taken away from your check.
Can you push the solution even further back? Is there any way to stop the cycle of teenage pregnancies?
That's so difficult to even talk about. In my heart, I think I have a solution, and I know now it may rub people the wrong way. But I believe that teenage pregnancy cannot be stopped by programs. It has to be morals, and morals come from God. And somewhere along the line, the black family kind of strayed away from that, and I believe we need it.
You say the moral values have changed.
Oh, yes. It's morally acceptable to have babies. It was not morally acceptable years ago. That's hurting the black family.
What I hear you saying is that even though racism may have brought about these circumstances, even though society may have created conditions that are terrible, you're saying you have to be responsible. You have to practice discipline and self-restraint.
That's right. We are destroying ourselves. Now, it might have been motivated and plotted and seeded with racism, but we're content to be in this well now, okay? We're just content to be in this mud, and we need to get out of it. There aren't any great white people running around in this block tearing up stuff. It's us. We've got to stop doing that.
Does the civil rights movement, which came to its peak in the 60s, have anything to say to this?
The civil rights to the young people now is a foreign word. What does it really mean to them? They don't have any knowledge about it.
The issue now is different, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm quite sure it is.
And you're worried about the survival of the black family. You think it's precarious?
I guess it's going to be an endangered species.
Even though the messages that kids are getting from society seems to say, do anything you want to, the United States government of New Jersey, a white man like Moyers cannot step in and say to young black kids, it's not right to have children out of wedlock. Welfare needs to be changed. You've got to take responsibility. Who's going to say these things to these kids?
Why can't you say it?
They won't listen to me.
Doesn't make any difference. You got to say it anyway. They may not listen to me either. But I'm saying if you say it in your corner and I say it in my corner and everybody is saying it, it's going to be like a drum beat. And sooner or later it will sound. But it's not just for me to talk about. It's for all of us to talk about. And I think it's going to surpass colors. And you're not going to be safe, I'm not going to be safe, and nobody's going to be safe unless we all send out this drumbeat. Hey, let's deal with it. Let's deal with the problem.